Sick. All right. We good? We're good. Stream Decker, that thing, this thing. Okay. The year was 2019. Everyone was happy. The world was good. Modern Horizons came out. Modern Horizons was full of wonderful cards, including the card Hogak, Arisen Necropolis, which proved to be a scourge on the modern metagame. Several months of chaos ensued, but at the end of it, Wizards finally stepped in. And in the banned and restricted announcement where they removed Hogak from the modern pool, as well as Faithless Looting, who was very unfairly removed, they gave us back Stoneforge Mystic. This card was banned since the inception of the modern format, and the ensuing brew frenzy to try to figure out the best shell to exploit this completely broken card was incredible. The first few deck dumps had 20 plus different archetypes that were using Stoneforge Mystic. Now, only 2 remain. So today we're going to be playing my good friend Brian Ching's Bant Stoneblade list. Blue-White Stoneblade is, of course, the other sort of accepted good build of Stoneblade. Mardu Stoneblade is also an option. So Stoneforge Mystic is 1 and a white for a 1/2 creature. Enters the battlefield. You can search your library for an equipment card, reveal it, put it in your hand. You also have the ability for 1 and a white tap to put an equipment card from your hand into play. So this allows you to cheat more expensive equipment cards into play. So we play exactly 2. We play Batterskull, which gives you essentially a 4/4 Vigilance lifelink creature, which you can recur. And we have Sword of Feast and Famine, which gives you pro-black, pro-green, +2/+2, and whenever your creature deals combat damage to a player, you untap all your lands and they discard a card. So the best way that people have found to exploit this card, Stoneforge Mystic, is in either a blue-white or blue-white-green shell. This is a very light green splash in this deck for Ice-Fang Coatl and Uro Titan of Nature's Wrath for some late-game reach, as well as some of our sideboard cards. And then the rest of the deck is a sort of mid-range-esque, slightly controlling. This is a little bit bigger than some of the other decks that use Stoneforge in a blue-white shell. And so we're going to take this in. It's a very fair, straightforward deck. The A plan is basically the mid-range plan, and there really isn't a B plan. So we play Stoneforge Mystics, we play Ice-Fang Coatl, we play Snapcaster Mage for a little bit of extra value, and we use our Planeswalkers, Teferi, Time Raveler, and Jace the Mind Sculptor to accrue extra value and close out the game with either Batterskull or Sword of Feast and Famine on one of our dinky creatures. Our sideboard contains all sorts of wonderful tools to deal with different bits of the modern metagame. But generally speaking, this is a nice, fair plan. And one of the highlighted cards here for me is Force of Negation. Force of Negation allows some of these blue mid-range decks to compete with some of the blistering fast decks of Modern, allowing you to tap down for a threat on turn 2, 3, 4, or 5, and still have the ability to counter a big non-creature play of your opponents. You do go down a card, but it tends to be worth it. As anyone who's ever played Legacy knows, stopping your opponent from winning the game is usually worth 2 for 1 yourself. So my good friend and teammate, Brian Ching, has an incredible overall record with this deck. So as long as we don't play against specifically Matthew Dilks on Titan, we should be fine. Deck's bad, couldn't beat Keith. That's true. It couldn't beat Keith, but I believe Brian has beaten Keith as long as we're not playing trios. Keith Slapshot Capstick. Opponent's on the play. Give myself a second to check my deck list. We're playing 24 lands. I've got 2 in my hand. 1 more land of any type puts me in a pretty great spot. My opponent, way up there on the karma. Okay, so I think we're going to keep this hand a little bit risky, but we do have blue cards to pitch to our force. We've got a Path to Exile. We've got lots of time to draw another colored land. Even another Field of Ruin is likely going to give us access to what we need. Opponent leading on Soulscar Mage, likely playing against Red Prowess here. We peeled the land we need already. Their turn 2 is unlikely to be devastatingly powerful, so just going to go ahead and play Temple Garden here. We have this Force of Negation to gain on tempo if we need to. If they have a Bolt here, they can hit us for 7. They've got a Lavadart, so they hit us for 5. Pretty good opponent. All right. So we have a kind of small decision point, you could say. I don't actually think it's much of a decision. So, is it? So I want to play the Stoneforge Mystic as quickly as possible. Is Lavadart worth forcing? It represents 6 damage. Yeah, it actually could have been. So Force of Negation does exile the card, so it might have been worth doing that there. I didn't do it, so now we're here. My Ice-Fang Coatl is not going to be able to block these creatures because they can flash back the Lavadart. So actually, if I had forced it using my Teferi Time Raveler, I would be in a much better position now. So I think I've priced myself into... Yes, you are correct, Roy. I think I've priced myself into just playing the Stoneforge Mystic this turn and getting Batterskull out of my deck. There is a situation in which their hand is some combination of lava spikes and other things that attack me and not my creatures, which allows me to get this Batterskull online next turn. We are not shields down here as we have this Force of Negation, so we can protect our Stoneforge Mystic from at least 1 burn spell. I think it was correct not to force, but we'll see. I didn't think it was correct not to force. I just acted without thinking because I'm a bad Magic player. They're Lavadarting me, which is some small solace here. We're probably going to force a Lava Spike or a Lightning Bolt that's pointed at my head. Light up the stage. I think that might be worth forcing. So it actually ends up being basically a 2 for 2. And I think I'm going to exile... I think I'm going to exile the Ice-Fang because Teferi is my play next turn if they kill my Stoneforge Mystic, and if they don't have a Batterskull. Also, hey, Cave Dan. Who has a podcast? Cave Dan has a podcast. Cave Dan has my favorite podcast in all of Magic right now. It's called Faithless Brewing, and they're wonderful, wonderful folks making wonderful, wonderful decks. Alex, you should definitely check it out. Cave Dan, you should know Roy is a big fan. He's not yet a patron. Damn. Okay, so they had the backup Lightning Bolt, so they had lots and lots of things to do here, and they're going to be able to hit us for 8, which is pretty good. So I think I'm going Field of Ruin into Bounce the Soulscar Mage. Hopefully this incentivizes them to attack my Teferi this turn. Gives us a little more time, and then next turn we have a Path to Exile for one of these creatures. And we have enough lands to play our Batterskull, so there is a fairly decent chance that we just die here, but let's see him cycle. Okay, they had just exactly what they needed and we die here. But yeah, they brew specifically in Pioneer and Modern. They used to be all Modern, and then when Pioneer came out, they have diversified, although Dave has been specifically their sort of Pioneer champion brewer, with the rest of them focusing on Modern, because Pioneer, as you know, was very tumultuous for the first little while. Hard to pin it down. Okay, so Core Firewalkers, Aether Gust, and Timely Reinforcements. Aether Gust is not necessarily great here. So, well, the format, I don't know if you guys ever saw my review. It does exist. I did write you guys a review, but they do their brews every week. They basically like sort of touch base on where the format's at, and then they'll talk about the things that they brewed in the last week, and then they'll talk about a card that they're going to brew around for the next week. And it's just a really wonderful balance of personalities. So that's one of the biggest things I appreciate of it. Is like I feel like those 3 humans could have made a good podcast about most things. Okay, Spell Snare seems reasonable here. Teferi is one of the worst cards in this matchup because usually he just kind of costs 3 for a crappy cantrip and then he dies. And I think Snapcaster seems kind of slow, although with timely reinforcements could be nuts. Maybe Jace, I think. Okay, so the planeswalkers and yeah, that makes sense. And then I don't know if I want something like Verdict, but I definitely could cut down on a Cryptic Command, maybe even 2. But I can keep 1. If I was going to keep 1 of any of these things, I think maybe Cryptic is the best one. Oh, I really hope I'm not hitting that bug again where I don't get to sideboard. Okay, there we go. Cool. Canadian reviews got shuffled out of their own special Canadian Apple place. That's adorable. All right, this is a very acceptable opening hand. Let me keep this one. Especially with the Astrolabe, it means I don't need to take a lot of damage as we go along. I don't know if I'm supposed to jam Stoneforge on 2 here, but I'm pretty sure that I am. Just get the Batterskull into my hand, and then I can keep Spell Snare up for later. Obviously, there's some appeal in wanting to Spell Snare on turn 2, but I'm definitely always pirating something, Alex. Whether that be television programs that I'm still illicitly downloading or music. Although I do try to eventually kick the creators of things I love money. So for example, yesterday I've watched Scrubs a good number of times in my lifetime. But yesterday I bought season 1 of Scrubs and I kicked them the full amount of money for it because that TV show is just fantastic and I finally owe them. Okay, so we've got the backup Stoneforge Mystic here, which will still draw us a card, and that gets us 1 turn away from the Batterskull. We've almost got enough lands for it anyway, and I can still cast Spell Snare now, so pretty happy with this kind of no matter which way it goes. So big difference of being on the play, and also my opponent had one of the worst starts for Mono Red Prowess, which is just having to cycle Crash through. They did have a second Lightning Bolt, but in this matchup, that's really not a problem. They've pointed 6+ potential damage at my creatures. So, definitely something I can deal with. Kiln Fiend. Hey, guess what? I can Spell Snare that. So our Astrolabe is tapped. But Island I can use for casting Uro, which is only the only color-intensive card in the deck except for Supreme Verdicts. So, happy to just fire this off like that. Okay, so we've got all the mana we need for Batterskull, and I've got a Cryptic Command. Bedlam Raveler would currently cost them 5. Oh, now 4, so maybe they have a Raveler here. Shrine of Burning Rage. Do I want to Cryptic that or Mana Leak it? I think we'll just Mana Leak it. I suppose I could have fired off my Field of Ruin on one of their fiery islands there. Oh no, they burst. They used Shock on me. Oh, they got to light up the Sage off of it. Well played, opponent. Bone Crusher and Bedlam Raveler. That's a pretty good flip. So I am faced with a very small quandary here, which is, do I want to jam this Batterskull Or do I want to hold up this Cryptic Command? In the face of Bedlam Raveler, I'm pretty sure I want to Cryptic that, or just Aether Gust it. I think I'm going to Cryptic it, and if I am going to Cryptic it, it means I can take out one of their cycle lands now. Because that means I'm going to have 1, 2... Oh, no, hold on. 1, 2, 3, and then I have 1, 2... Okay, no, I can't do that. Don't do the thing! Where's Roy? He needs to tell me not to do the thing. Roy always protects me. Roy protects me from my misplays too late. Okay, so get that nerd out of here. Oh, Roy's a patron now too? Oh, sick. You gotta hop on the Discord, buddy. So you can be discordant with me. They had a backup Bedlam Raveler. Well, that's a kick in the teeth. At least they lose their Bone Crusher Giant in Exile, so that's something. But there's a good chance that probably drew them a Smash to Smithereens or whatever. I have 3 islands in play, so I can Mystic Sanctuary back my Cryptic Command. Or I could bring back something else. I could have a Spell Snare up after a Batterskull. I don't know if that is something I should be doing. I'm definitely going to put something back on top. I think I'm just putting the Cryptic back on top. My option here is I could jam the Batterskull, leave it vulnerable, or I can play Ice-Fang on their turn, also have Aether Gust, and then play and equip Sword of Feast and Famine next turn. The chance of them having a burn spell in that case is pretty high. I'm just going to jam the Batterskull this turn, and then whatever happens to my Batterskull on their turn, I have the ability to play Ice-Fang and Cryptic next turn, or Aether Gust and Ice-Fang, or a whole bunch of things. So, not sure about this line against this deck, but we'll see. Crash Through is definitely very good here for them. My Germ can still block and absorb a lot of damage. Hopefully they didn't... Okay, Metamorphose, sure. They have more prowess triggers. Do they even play... Do you think they brought in Braids? Yes, they definitely play things like a Braid. A Braid, Smash to Smithereens. There's all sorts of options that they have here that can really mess me up. Okay, they go to combat, so I am going to block here because it's essentially taking 8 damage off of what I would otherwise be taking here. Lava Dart. Sure. They don't... So that's basically just +2 damage here. Lava Dart again. Okay. Another +2 damage here. Okay. Not... Oh, wow. They had 2 Lava Darts from hand. I think they actually get to... Are they putting me to 1 here? I think they're putting me to 1 here. Yeah, and I don't gain any life because of that. Well, that was horrifying. Yeah. And the Lava Darts are not in their graveyard anymore, so they don't... They don't technically have enough to kill me on board, but we are certainly in some hefty trouble. Okay. Go Snake. Oh yeah, we could top deck the Timely to gain a bunch of life, so... They cycle Sunbaked Canyon. Good, good. Sign of weakness. Get out of here, nerd. Crash Through. Sure. That is definitely not a lethal kill. Lethal burn spell. Hold on. So if I activate Field, I have 2 mana left afterwards. I really want to bounce this Batterskull right now. I realized that put me on enough, or on so little mana that they could just kill me there, but the fact that they didn't try to kill me before that meant that I felt slightly comfortable doing that. We ripped an Uro, so things are finally coming up Millhouse, plus this Force of Negation is awesome. So now I have a whole bevy of options, and next turn we get to escape this Uro, so Uro's going to pull us through. Play Ice-Fang and equip Nevermind. Yeah, that was not a line. I don't think it was. I don't think that was possibly something I could do. Lava Spike. Okay, so they have 1 mana left. I'm going to hit this with an Aether Gust, which is at least going to set them back a turn. And with the fact that I'm able to escape my Uro, should be in the clear here. If they have another Lava Spike, yeah, okay, cool. That's fine. Just going to take it, not spend the extra resources there. I'm going to play and crack this Misty Rainforest and kill myself, just to give Roy a heart attack by saying that sentence out loud. But what I'm actually going to do is play this Uro. One of the neat things about this deck is that it has very little that it plays out of the graveyard except for Snapcaster Mage. So you actually have a pretty easy time when you want to cast things like Uro. You don't really have to be super fussy about what you are and are not exiling from your graveyard. I wish I could play this Core Firewalker right now. There's no way I can actually do that. I could... okay, I think I'm making a mistake here. I already made the mistake, so I'm going to lean into it. But putting myself to 3 was definitely some slops there. The reason I did it is because I wanted to fetch the land so I could Field of Ruin them off of their other cycle land. But I definitely could have left myself at higher than 3. We just have to make it through their turn without them killing me. I know the top card of the deck actually I shuffled away, and we have a Force of Negation we can pitch for here. So, oh, they scooped. Okay, so we got there. I just thought that if I said it in a very very deadpan way, then you would assume that I was just going to do it, which seems to have been correct. Okay, I think the Supreme Verdict is probably... Nah, I think I'm going to leave the Verdict. I think the way I sideboarded is good. The only thing I can imagine bringing in is like the Cryptic or one of the Jaces for this Supreme Verdict, but the ability for the Supreme Verdict to be a 2 or 3 for 1 is pretty good. And I don't think there's anything I need to change on the draw, so we're going to go back to it. Yes, this is exactly what you're like with your incredibly deadpan delivery. Once again, we've got a completely reasonable draw here. So I have no way to play this Spell Snare. I don't think that their turn 2 can be that devastating, so I think I have time to play this Astrolabe and try to draw another land. Perfect. Crash through. Perfect. Ah, they missed the land drop. Okay. Now we're cooking with propane. All right. I think we just pass here. We've got all the interaction up. I don't want to cast this Path to Exile, especially when they're missing land drops. Especially when they're missing land drops like this. I kind of want to path them so that they can't light up the stage. So this does give them a tap land. I think because I'm just going to make my peace with the fact that they're eventually going to hit their second land, so giving it to them now is not the worst thing in the world. I don't know if that's right or wrong. It might be horribly wrong, but the fact that this gives them a tapped land means they don't get to exploit it this turn, and they don't get to light up the stage into their next land, which I couldn't counter. Another Swift Spear, you say. Very well. Post-combat Swift Spear. The most terrifying of all Swift Spears. Alright. Got Verdict coming up next turn, which is pretty hot. Cool. Alright. So Stoneforge is sort of our next target. Spike me. Spike is fine. Can't do anything about it anyway. I think at this point stopping them from hitting me for 2 is worth it. So we're going to fire off this path. That's what they're there for. Alright, 2 mana. Come on, do it. Oh, they weren't in the main phase. Bye, Killfiend. See ya. Hey, look, an Udo. That's just fantastic on this board. Wow, it's exactly what I asked for. Thanks, deck. It's not at all what I asked for, but it is exactly what I wanted, so I guess that's even better. We're light on cards to escape my Uro at this point, but light up the stage, hard cast. You go, girl. Mountain Crash Through. Yeah. No sound right now. Oh. Did I screw up? No, I didn't screw up. You screwed up. You're screwed up. Oh, okay, got it. Okay. You're talking about yourself. Gotcha. Alex, always talking about himself. Alright. Am I Supreme Verdicting just the Soulscar Mage? I think I probably am. The other option is like Snap Path. I think. And they have 1, 2, 3, 4. So the Bedlam Reveler currently costs 4, so I can still mana leak it. Leaving Snapcaster up for the future is like pretty real. Ooh. Need double white. Got it. Okay. Yeah. Hardcast, light up the stage. They still have 4 cards in hand, but I think do you counter the card draw, or do you count? You know what? This lets me escape my Uro this turn, so hopefully they don't have a follow-up Bedlam Reveler here. Soulscar, sure. I can still play the Bedlam Reveler. No, they can't. They only have -5. Sick. We still have access to, well, we would have access to Snap Snare, but we're exiling it now. But it's definitely worth it for Uro. We're at 20. Leak into Uro into hype. I agree with that, Cave Dan. Cool. Yeah. All right. Yeah, I think just firing off the leak there was worthwhile. Sorry, I've got you guys on a separate screen, so I'm not always great at bouncing back and forth. Oh, now I can Snapcaster into that mana leak I don't have anymore. Oh, and Cave Dan, I you pronounced my last name correctly, which I don't know if you made sure to like find me saying it, because I'm sure I've said it on my stream at some point, but or if it was just like good intuition, but that was neat. Not only did you say my name, you said my name correctly. Because I usually get Rill or Rial or like Riley. Many Soulscar mages. Into the Bedlam Reveler. Well, I guess we've got a game. Although they discarded 2 cards, so they discard Light Up and another Bedlam Reveler. Yeah, it's like Ryle. Yeah, you nailed it. Yeah, it's the go-to when I was younger was that I was getting all riled up, which I'm a decently high energy. Holy crap, Bedlam Revelers. Well, I really wish I hadn't exiled that Supreme Verdict now, because that was the only one I have. Well, this is awesome. All right. Am I attacking here? I think I have to. Because I could draw removal, and removal is double removal right now. It feels super awkward. Good golly. They played a Bedlam Reveler, discarded a Bedlam Reveler, and then drew yet another Bedlam Reveler. All right. Do they go multi-block? Or do they block at all? Probably not. The fact that this list has exactly 1 Supreme Verdict is about to bite us in the ass. And every spell they play right now is currently +4 damage. So we are fairly likely to die. So assuming that I have a path in my hand, they have to block with... No, there's no good block for them here. If I have a path in my hand, they can't profitably block here. So they're either assuming that I have the path and not blocking, or if they do, it's quite the gamble. I think a blocker is worth more. I think the card was worth more. We will see, depending on how they play out their turn. They do have an awful lot of mana thanks to double pathing them. So it's definitely a sort of interesting game state to be in. Knowing that I didn't have another Verdict in my deck is also pretty relevant, I guess. So they attack for 8. So like a single Lava Dart basically kills me at this point. Lightning Bolt, sure. So that's 7. So that's 15. So I think we're very likely just dead to this, but the Uro wasn't really going to make that much of a difference, and I think the extra card was worth it. Burst Lightning, sure. Does that put us just dead? I think it might, because we go to 18, they hit us for 16? Okay, no. One more spell of any kind, and we die, even with the 5 damage at the top, so... Yeah, they had way more than enough to kill us here. Yeah, they're crazy Bedlam Reveler into Bedlam Reveler with Bedlam Reveler discarded turn just ate us. So 1 and 2 close ones. Well, even with the Lightning Bolt there, or even with the Snapcaster to try to use that as a blocker, they had more than enough burn spells to just take it all out and kill us. Yeah, it was close. I mean, I always do reasonably well against burn. I can just almost always lose, but like just barely. Played a lot of Ixalan Unlimited, so it seemed natural. I am like a dino. I'm riled. If you poke me for 1 damage and draw a card, I will give you an enrage trigger. Mono red, your new burn. No, mono red is burn. That's unkeepable. Although I tend to have a better win rate against the mono red prowess deck. In the dark, I'm going to keep the Jace over the Verdict. Everything else in this hand is pretty A+. And we're fetching an island because we are a Mystic Sanctuary deck, even if we only have one Mystic Sanctuary. Flooded Strand on Flooded Strand violence. You hate to see it. But you don't hate to see these land draws. Especially when they're old border land draws. Ugh. Onslaught fetches make me so happy. Sea Chrome Coast. What the hell are we against? Jeskai Stoneblade. Okay. Batterskull. Yep. So I want to path them on their upkeep in theory, assuming that they don't have a mana leak or something like that for me. Although I think... So I definitely want an island of some kind here. I think I'm going to play an end of turn Ice-Fang. And then path on my turn. And that means I could draw something like a mana leak or what have you. Or I could draw this Teferi. Teferi's good here. Teferi's excellent here. Assuming that I don't get Force of Negation, Teferi is completely busted here. So we're going to go field into Teferi and clench, I guess. And then if that all works out, it's going to be kind of ridiculous. Yeah, buddy. You can have as many equipment in your hand as you like. Hey, look! I got a Stoneforge too. Stoneforge Teferi. -3, return target artifact, enchantment, or creature to your opponent's hand. Draw Batterskull. Sick! Lightning Bolt. Aw, you jerk. I like their deck better. They get to play Lightning Bolt, not Path to Exile. I freaking hate Path to Exile. Okay, the question is, do I Jace and bounce their Stoneforge Mystic? I think it's reasonable to do that, but there is the chance that they can just kill my Jace again. Other option is to Field of Ruin them and also get rid of their Stoneforge, but then they could just cast the Batterskull next turn, which I guess is not a big problem for us. Well, we're definitely attacking, so let's get that over with. So we'll take them off their Sea Chrome. Get an island because I want to have access to Mystic Sanctuary if I draw it. Do I want to upkeep Path them? No, because then they can Stoneforge. So if they want to hard cast the Batterskull, that's fine. Just gotta take 1 second to knock off my Facebook Messenger. There we go. Cool. They forced it. Oh, that's rude. Okay, so I'm gonna play Force and Path and Jace this turn. So I think I want to Path them first. And this is gonna force them to activate and get their Batterskull into play most likely. And then I could play Jace and bounce the Germ token. Yep. Yep. Yay, good sequencing. Rawr. And I do have the option to get my Mystic Sanctuary to reset my path to Exile. I think since they are planning to win with creatures, I'm going to do that. So hopefully I don't have another Force of Negation or Spell Pierce or something similar. So we'll bounce their Germ, so this means that it takes them quite an investment to reset this Batterskull. I think the Scorpio meme is undoubtedly one of your finest. One of the best parts about it is I read it with Scorpio's voice. Oh man, they just got all the tools to deal with us here, huh? Well, there's my path to Exile, which kind of puts me ahead on the Batterskull race. Plus the art definitely puts me ahead on the Batterskull race. Oh boy. Ooh. That is the song from the episode. Scorpio, he'll sing you with his dreams of power and wealth. Beware of Scorpio. Yeah, that's the one. Spell Pierce. Good golly, this deck list is really, really well equipped for this mirror match. Okay, so our Batterskull is down. We've lost to Jace. We've lost to Teferi. Not out of this, but like, goodness gracious, they have all the tools for this. They're definitely a lot better against our Planeswalkers than we have been against their threats so far. No, it's definitely a Jeskai Blade deck. Feel so betrayed by Spell Pierce. I freaking love Spell Pierce, and like, I understand why people play Mana Leak where they do and what have you, but what are they snapping? Are they just snapping a bolt here? I guess they're snapping a bolt, or snapping the Helix, sure. And then they're probably going to equip Batterskull and attack me, so this Ice-Fang is going to go the distance pretty well. Which I can definitely deal with. And they have Sword of Fire and Ice still in their hand. That was their last card, so they might play and equip that, which is fine. Because I've got a path to Exile, so... No, they equip the Batterskull. Sure. Which means Ice-Fang is gonna beat him up here, and I have the backup plan of path. Hey, Paul. So, Cave Dan, you are host to both of my wonderful teammates. No, two of my wonderful teammates. We got Roy, who's our bench guy. He's gonna fill in for me while I'm gone, but he filled in for Brian when Brian was in Malaysia. Where does Spell Pierce rank within your counterspell hierarchy? Shit. I don't think it's even close to the first page. But if you ask me for like cards that are frequently legal, it's one of the best ones. That's the advantage Spell Pierce has over a lot of other counterspells that are on my list of the best counterspells. Like, because my list of best counterspells starts with Cryptic Command. Mr. Benchwarmer. The best counterspell ever printed is Cryptic Command. The second best is Counterspell because it's named Counterspell. The third might be Dismiss. I'm a huge fan of Dismiss. Oh, well, we're getting our Sword of Feast and Famine. They're on empty right now, so we kind of have something going on. And Sword of Feast and Famine is better against their deck than their Sword of Fire and Ice is against ours. So, might be pulling through here. They can bounce their Batterskull, replay the Batterskull, and equip it. But by equipping my Sword of Feast and Famine, I insulate my Stoneforge Mystic from them drawing a Bolt or a Helix here. What are they tapping mana for? The bounce the Batterskull. Right, okay. Old school ranking, lol. Yeah, see, Dismiss might be the third best counter of all time. Well, Cryptic Command might not even be actually all that good, but it's certainly my favorite. The good old days. I am a bitter old man. Actually, a very enthusiastic, fun-loving old man. Okay, so if I'm gonna path this, they've got 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, so they can bounce and reset it whenever they want. So I think I'm just gonna path it now. Some Whispers of the Muse in there, yeah. You guys remember Buyback? One of the most fun mechanics of all time? Teferi's Response is my favorite counterspell. Okay. You pipe the hell down, Roy. I had enough of your shit. One of the cool things is if we ever draw a Teferi, we can bounce one of their equipment to their hand and then knock it out of their hand with the Sword of Feast and Famine. So that could be a line we get to take eventually. Spell Queller main phase. Sure. I'm going to really enjoy pathing that. Man, that is a thick Spell Queller. You guys seen this boy? He's thick. Can I have some of those drugs? My opponent scooped that? They have 23 life. I have 5 power in play. Alright, we broke their spirit. I see. Well, I was not expecting to win that game after the way the early game went, but I killed them with kindness. So Ashiok does shut down their search, but I don't think that's particularly useful. Veil of Summer will defeat their counter magic, of which they didn't play that much. It's actually kind of tricky game to try to sideboard for because, like our deck, they're quite diverse. So Return to Nature kills their equipment. That's definitely a plus. Other than that, I don't know if any of these sideboard cards are particularly important. I don't know if we saw a path to... So I don't think Veil of Summer is worth it, and I don't think Aether Gust is worth it. Resetting a Bolt or a Lightning Helix in this matchup I don't think is that big of a deal compared to what I would be taking out. I think we're actually really well set up in this matchup. I think Return to Nature for maybe Verdict. Dispute is Life. They didn't really play that many blue cards. I guess it could counter like a Teferi before the Teferi kind of comes down and really messes me up. But like, what are we boarding out for it? Mana leaks? Maybe our own Teferis, but if we resolve a Teferi and they don't have a burn spell, it's pretty savage. Is Force worth boarding out? I don't think Force is particular. Well, yeah, we could go with the sort of legacy idea that you board out your forces in the fair matchup because you're doing a lot of card for card trades and going down a card is not worth it. In which case, I'd probably bring in the disputes. Yeah, I don't know about Veil. I'm not convinced about Veil at all because they didn't play like any counter magic in game one, except for the Spell Pierce. But like, okay, I think we can bring in one Veil. So taking out these for these seems fine. I think one Veil could be okay. Other than that, I'm not convinced that more Veils would be all that good. Board in your life. You mean timely, or are you telling me that I'm bored in my life? Because I'm really not bored. I'm doing a bunch of stuff. It's great. It's all great. This hand is not great. Although it's got stuff to do. We're on the draw. We get one more land. All right, I'm going to keep this. I'm a high roller. They're going to Spell Pierce my Astrolabe on turn 1. I'm going to be really, really sad. Woof. Woof. I'm getting stressed. We got to give him a chance. I don't think this deck can afford to keep one-liners. I could have if I hadn't boarded out my Force of Wills. Why did I listen to you, Roy? Why did I listen? Never listen to your friends. Nah, dude, it's cool. We'll just draw the Veil and everything will be great. Selective hearing. Well, I mean, I did what I said I was going to do. All right, out of this hand, I think I'm pitching the Cryptic. Oh, they're playing something. Damn it. I can't Veil that. I could Veil to draw a card, but I don't think that's worth it here. No, I know. Yeah, I know you're in the past, but all right, we're gonna pitch the Cryptic here. It's triple blue. It represents exactly one card. So now they potentially have Spell Queller. So hopefully we get the land here. Yeah, okay, cool. So we get to start rolling here. We're going to go end of their turn. We're going to play Ice-Fang Coatl. So I'm okay with that, getting Spell Queller at that specific timing. The fact that they haven't done anything proactive yet, too, is nice. And they're going to assume that our hand is 100% gas because we haven't played anything yet, which is semi-true. Our hand is pretty good. Hopefully, yeah, okay. So they seem generally very light on counter magic. Okay, that's a good draw. Okay. So they have 4 mana. Do I want to start playing things? Helix. Yeah, Helix on my 2-for-1 is fine. Okay, so I can play Stoneforge here and try to get one of their counters out. I don't have any counter magic of my own for their turn, and then next turn I could play Teferi with Veil back up. In theory, I could Veil a counter spell here. Okay, good. This is going to go for Batterskull because Batterskull is a good independent threat and I don't have any creatures to put a sword on. Stoneforge plus Veil. I just didn't actually want to play the Veil on Stoneforge if they went to counter it. I think they might have had Mystical Dispute in hand because they had only 2 mana open and they didn't even like attempt to to do anything, so they might just have been straight up unable to do it. If they shock this Sacred Foundry, I'm like even more convinced that they have Mystical Dispute in hand, which means my Teferi is going to be gross here with Veil back up. Because I want an island in play, but I also want more green, I'm going to get Breeding Pool here. Eventually we might want to cast Uro. Oh, okay, so we're just ripping these lands now. So the all-gas hand kind of worked out nicely. I'm going to fetch before I start playing things here, just in case. There's kind of no reason not to here. So we're going to play Teferi with Veil back up. Teferi's why do you no longer think they have Queller? There's no reason that I no longer think they have Queller. They're going to Queller me now, and I'm going to be really sad about it because I forgot thinking. I forgot to think about it. I thought about it on turn 3, and I stopped thinking about it immediately afterwards because I'm a terrible player. It's okay because we had Path, so we just get to Path them here. Then I get my Teferi back, unless they Force of Negation me, but I have another Path, so we're going to be fine, question mark? Oh, Roy, I'm so excited for you to see the future. They're down to 1 card, though, so we have pretty effectively worked through their hand. Batterskull hardcast, sure. So I can Path the Queller, and then I have lots of options after that. Pretty sure what I'm going to do is Path the Queller, and then with my Teferi, I'm going to bounce the Germ Token. Get down on it. Get down on it. I'm getting down on it, guys. How you going to do it if you really don't want to dance? Ooh, Uro. Uro or Jace. So Uro allows me to keep mana open, but mana only lets me cast Veil at this point, so I think Uro's maybe just uptick to Teferi. I was thinking about it, but I think bouncing the Germ Token kind of has them. Yeah, I think this is a pretty good. I think this is a pretty good place to be, Dan. They're on 0 cards in hand, so I can play Jace here and just Fate Seal them. And then, like, that's really... They have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 mana, so... So Bolt can go on the bottom. So one of the best draws for them is either another Bolt effect or a land. Other than that, I think most of their draws are pretty bad. They do have Castle Ardenvale here, so I want to remember that because they can make a 1/1. That is a pretty good draw. It's not the end of the world for us, but that was pretty good. So they can't Ardenvale here, and they can't... they can reset their Batterskull. So I want to brainstorm and see if I can find a way to deal with Batterskull or Ashiok. I have ways for both. Neither of these are them. And I'm an idiot who played this Flooded Strand instead of just holding my land drop and then brainstorming into this island. And if I had 1 mana open last turn, I could have veiled their Ashiok activation. No, I didn't. I played the Jace that turn. Okay. Pretty sure I want to play my Batterskull. Pretty sure I want to hold most of the rest of this, so I can just put Island, Uro on top, play my Batterskull. It's kind of naked, but I'm definitely not fetching. Like, I know there's an Ashiok in play, so I'm definitely not fetching. I just have a bad habit of just throwing lands down like I just learned to play Magic last week. Feel like the worst prophet in history. You are no Cassandra, my friend. Dave is one of the worst prophets in history. He's very, very good at predicting the future very accurately and not being able to get anyone to listen to him. We get all the South Park feels. They didn't listen. They there goes my Uro and my island, which admittedly weren't that good here, so. Okay, so that they have the mana to use their Arden Veil to protect the Ashiok, which is mana intensive, and it means they don't get to use it for anything else. Okay, so we're going to Brainstorm first, because I'm definitely doing that. Field of Ruin is a pretty good pickup here. Although I can't get a land off of it, so not that good. Okay, I definitely don't need to play a Snap anytime soon. Oh, Path is a good draw here, so this means I can kill Ashiok this turn, and then I can Field of Ruin them off of their castle. So that's good. Alright. Cool. Guys, I found the line. I found the thing that I was figuring out. I figured out the thing I was trying to figure out. They didn't make the token. Okay. It's gonna fetch. Because I want to shuffle away the top. Okay, now they're going to Castle Ardenvale. I'm going to field them now, why not? Get that nerd out of here. Okay, we still have the Mystic Sanctuary plus a Hallowed Fountain in our deck. If they were planning on equipping this human token with their Batterskull, my Ice-Fang is going to say hi, which is super unfortunate for them because otherwise this was a kind of neat play. But the way that their burn was really good against us in game one, my Ice-Fang Coatl is about to be completely busted against them in this game. Surprise Snake. I said it when it came out. I don't know why they decided that Baleful Strix needed to be way, way better. I'm going to use Ice-Fang for sure. Path is more mana efficient, but more importantly, Path is like 100% guaranteed to sort of like line up on your target, I guess is the way I'm thinking of it. Oh, Stoneforge. Okay, so that's going to get me my Feast and Famine, which is going to close out this game even faster than everything else has been. And this Teferi is also excellent. Okay, so I don't need Astrolabe this turn, and I still don't need Snapcaster right now. Attacking first, then playing Stoneforge. So, which is better to play? I think it's just both, actually. I'm going to go slightly shields down. The only thing we're going to have up is a mana leak. But at this stage of the game, I think that's pretty okay. I'm definitely ticking up Teferi this time. Then they need to have 2 burn spells. Last card in hand, Spell Pierce. So I could Veil them, which would be really, really cruel. I'm just going to pay for it. So, God bless. Good luck, opponent. I mean, I guess you might as well fire it off, but that's brutal. So now there's 2 Planeswalkers they can't bolt. I think they are pretty done here. Ice-Fang is better against their walkers, which I partially posed the question. 1 power is really, really bad against most of the Planeswalkers, and did I see any Teferis in their deck? They should be playing them, but I don't know if they are. Is Batterskull summoning sick? No, I beat them up with it. I'll be back in 2 seconds, and then we will rock on into game number... Oh, you mean to equip to the... Yeah, I guess so. I don't know. I wasn't thinking about it that way because I had a Batterskull in play already that was attacking them repeatedly. So, 2 seconds, I'll be back. All right, cool. We back. Jump on it. Jump on it. Jump on it. Alrighty. So 1-1 here in this Modern League, which is a good way to start for me when I 2-0 to start with. That means I usually crash and burn. Won the die roll, so that's not bad with this deck. And this is a reasonable-ish opener. It's not great, but I think we're definitely in the business of keeping hands like this. In the dark, it's definitely not phenomenal, but it's got stuff. We're doing stuff. We're going to draw more lands. We're going to draw the right spells. It's going to be great. Drawing equipment in your opening hand is not the best, of course, but... Okay, Red Prowess rematch. Okay, so now I've got a Force. Okay, so I want to play Sanctuary this turn, and then I only have the option of Path plus Force. I think I can blow the Sanctuary here. Just make sure that I hit 3 on my next turn. It doesn't feel great, but I think I'm going to do it that way. So hopefully they don't have their ideal draw of Monastery Swift Spear into Burn Spell. Kiln Fiend is great. Kiln Fiend is exactly the kind of thing we want to see here. This means I can kind of just take the 1. Now I can fire off this Path, and the next turn I have Snap Path available. I don't think I want to do that. I think I want to wait until they actually play some other spells. Another Path is not the end of the world, but I really want to draw something like a Mana Leak so that I can deal with the eventual Bedlam Raveler, which is going to be fun on a bun. Manamorphose. So this is currently 4, 5, 6 damage. So if I force this... Well, we don't know if they don't have a land in their hand or not, so I'm going to let this go. Forcing it is definitely an option, but it's not a particularly good one. Second Manamorphose. So there is a very, very good chance they have lethal on this attack. Luckily for us, we have Path to Exile, so... And if I wanted to, I could play Snapcaster and block the Soulscar Mage. Probably going to take a small chunk of damage off the Soulscar. Oh wow, they got one of those big plays. There's a good chance we're gonna play Snapcaster as a chump blocker. Okay, light up the stage is more worth countering than anything we've seen so far. I think pitching force is the best play here. Or force pitching Snapcaster. Kiln Fiend has 2 toughness. That is correct. They have a Lava Dart in their graveyard, though. So assuming they don't cast that, which they don't need to anymore. I think I go force pitching force here. So if for some reason they play the Lava Dart in their graveyard, crash through. Okay, so now they have Trample, so I'm definitely not blocking the Kiln Fiend. See ya. So we're going to take 6. Which is significant, but not game-ending. That was not the Cryptic Command or Mana Leak I wanted, but this does mean at some point we're going to be able to play Snap and then equip and start attacking. The reason I played the Sword of Feast and Famine here is most likely we're just going to be playing a Path to Exile on their turn. It's very little likelihood that playing double path would be worthwhile, although this is one of the things that would have made it worthwhile. They got more Lava Darts. They got Lava Darts coming and going. Goodness gracious. Gonna take a lot of damage this turn if they want. Another Kiln Fiend. Yeah, that's a whole thing. So I'm going to path their Soulscar Mage, marginally better as a creature than Swiftspear, and the next turn I have Snap Path for the Kiln Fiend. If I draw a land, I can go main phase, Snap Path, equip Sword of Feast and Famine. Doesn't feel good to give them more mana. Oh, they've also got a million Lava Darts in their graveyard, so they can blow me out on that play. So actually, we're not going to do that. We're just going to pass the turn here. Somewhat unfortunately. Mono Red Prowess looks like a more vulnerable Infect deck, which it trades for burn for reach. Thoughts? I guess so. But it's not. I mean, it is vulnerable in the way that it doesn't play any protection for the creatures, but it's also like got a lot more versatility. Yeah, they've got a lot of Lava Darts, dude. Okay, they've now cast 1 Lava Dart. They still have 1 more. Light up the stage. So I could Snap Force this, but they've got a Lava Dart, so I do not want to Snap Force that. I still need to play Snap for their path, or to path the Kiln Fiend. Lava Spike, sure. So we're going to perilously low life here. Unfortunately, our Snap is likely priced into chump blocking their. Goodness gracious. Yeah, they still have a Lava Dart in their yard, so we're kind of screwed here. And they are way, way up in cards. So we're going to go to 1. No, okay, so they do kill us here no matter what we do. It's going to look like we can do stuff. But if they're paying attention, we're dead here. Yep, cool. Okay, so we've got Core Firewalkers, Timely Reinforcements, and potentially Aether Gust. I think Teferi's not great. That's right, Jace is not great. Cryptic's not great. One more cut. Yeah, I just cut the other Jace. I think I'm pretty happy with the sideboarding. I wish I could keep another Jace. They get pretty low on resources, but I guess Lava Spikes just end him, so. Aether Gust is definitely pretty good in this matchup because specifically targeting red permanents is great when they go into combat, and you can floop their thing back on top of their library. This hand is super awkward. I'm gonna mull this. It doesn't have a snowland, so this Astrolabe doesn't help us. This is marginally better. I'm gonna keep this. I'm gonna bottom the second Ice-Fang. Ice-Fang has the potential to be really good, but Leyline of the Void. All right. So yeah. Okay, so we're not gonna have access to Uro, which is, I guess, good to know. We can't play this Ice-Fang, so this is again an awkward hand, but I don't think I wanted to go to 5 over it. Warlord's Fury. I don't think that this is super common in that deck. Lava Spike, sure. Okay, we're definitely pathing here. Sucks, but gotta be done. Okay, I would like to draw a blue or green land or an Astrolabe into a blue or green land. That is the ticket. So I could Spell Snare that, but main phase Manamorphose is pretty non-threatening with no prowess creatures in play, so. And I can't currently snap with it. Lava Dart. Okay, so this means there's going to be a light up the stage here. Burst Lightning. Nope, they just did not have good things to do there. They do have a Lava Dart in their bin here, but the chances of them wanting to blow it on just an Ice-Fang Coatl is pretty low. Still get to cycle it anyway. Wow. Okay. I mean, I guess that's a thing you could do. Here's my Stoneforge. I guess they didn't see... No, they saw my Feast of Famine in Game 1, so they should know that we're on Stoneblade, so... I think they might have been a little aggressive. Cycle Islet. Okay, that's nice. Please play a 2-mana spell. Cool. So I'm going to aggressively Spell Snare this because this means they're not going to play anything more this turn. which means I'm definitely getting my Batterskull into play. I think that's worth it there. And Spell Snare is an awkward spell. It's very good, but then there's some times where it just kind of gets stranded in your hand with no good target. So sometimes you just kind of want to fire it off as soon as you have a good target. Well, that's an excellent draw. So now I just play this Core Firewalker and leave my... I don't have enough white mana to do that. Okay, so I think I'd rather get the Batterskull into play this turn. 4/4 lifelink against that deck seems really good. This also means I get to leave my mana up for Cryptic, so if they play Bedlam Raveler here, I can just Cryptic that and then do other things next turn. They have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in their graveyard, so it's going to cost them 3. So Cryptic is good to go here. Core Firewalker pro red, right. Yes, it has pro red. So this is white for 2/2 protection from red. Whenever a player casts a red spell, you may gain 1 life. Seems to be better in the meta than Auriok Champion. Yeah, they just scooped to resolve Batterskull in that situation. I could bring in Return to Nature for their Leyline, but I don't really think it's all that worthwhile. I don't think I'm going to do that. I guess I don't have any way to remove the Leyline because I don't have the Teferis in the deck, and I'm only... Well, I have 1 Cryptic. But I feel like Return to Nature is going to be terrible against most of their draws. It's just going to be a dead card. The only thing it does is kill Leylines, and honestly, I'm not playing out of the graveyard that much. I guess I could board out my Uros, but if they don't have the Leyline, the Uro is insane. Do we care about Leyline? It's 1 fewer card that's going to our face. That's basically what I'm thinking. It's like them taking their own mulligan. Oh, is that what you meant when you said they mulled too? I think it is. I totally missed that. I thought you actually meant they mulliganed, which I assumed that they did when you said that. But yeah, so this is one of those decks in Modern that is in a nice sweet spot in terms of the graveyard where you're like just dipping your toe. I think this is a very keepable hand. It's not insane. They had no turn 0 Leyline. It's possible they boarded them out after that game. Yeah, they started on 7. Yeah. I got you, Roy. Okay, so once again, another turn 2. I'm going to be tapping down. I do have Force available, but Force against Prowess triggers is not great. We're just hoping that they don't have Swift Spear and like Lava Smoke to deal 7. Manamorphose. That's fine. Crash through, sure. Man, they're spinning those tires. Just getting them real road ready. Burst Lightning, sure. Okay, so we're going to 12 here. Pretty good. I'd love to draw one of these Timely Reinforcement cards. I hear they're really good in this matchup. I don't know. I've never gotten to experience it. Seems like it would be really good, but I just don't know. Okay, hopefully they don't have any Lava Darts here and they tap down before combat. Because I think holding on to the Ice-Fang in my hand is worthwhile and not pitching it to Force. Because if I lose the Ice-Fang, I really have like very little to do. Smash to smithereens. Gross. Which means I have to fire off my Ice-Fang now. It does mean they don't get to attack me for 3. But we are going to 5. So this game might be... we might be on the draw Timely or bust. I mean, that's a Stoneforge. That gets me my Batterskull, so... Really? Oh, I don't have Death Touch. I think I still have to block here. Yeah. Hey, look. This Ice-Fang has Death Touch. So I can play Ice-Fang or Path or Stoneforge, but not all of them. So killing my Astrolabe actually put me in a really, really rough squeeze because we have all of these lands in our hand and nothing to pitch to this force. I think playing the Stoneforge and being able to pitch for Ice-Fang, pitch Ice-Fang to Force of Negation is probably our best play here. So that's the line I'm taking and why I'm taking it. I have no idea exactly the breakdown of percentages that make this right or wrong, but I think this is definitely like one of the best of bad choice. Yeah. I found the same line as you, Roy. I would like this Batterskull, please. Okay, opponent, your move. This is all I got. I'm lying. I have this Force of Negation in my hand that I'm planning on casting. Please cast a crappy spell. Please pay 3 mana full retail for that. Is not what I asked you to do. So they don't have any Lava Darts in their graveyard right now. But if I don't block here and they have almost any burn spell, I just die flat out. So I think I have to block here. I'm pretty sure we're just Giant of Prowess here again. Oh, wow. We got away with it. They didn't have anything. Called their bluff. Got paid off. Cool. Pretty sure I am not trying to play any kind of untapped land here. I think I'm just playing Hallowed Fountain tapped and passing the turn. And then if they have Smash to Smithereens, we're going to be totally fine and kind of wreck them with the Force of Negation. They're probably going to cycle one of these lands here because there's a lot of spells they can draw that really help them out of this situation. Really? Just go into combat, huh? Okay. Here's my Batterskull. Yeah, there's the Smash to Smithereens. Force it. Force your smash. So we go to 8 and we take 2. Barf, says opponent. Yeah, looks like it all worked out. We're dead, frowny face, says Roy. No, dude, we called their bluff and it kind of just crushed them. I'm gonna play this Mystic Sanctuary, put my Force of Negation on top. I've got a Path in hand and an Aether Gust, so we're kind of just there. I could attack with my Stoneforge Mystic, but just on the off 1,000,000% chance. Yeah, so block and pray against the 2 Swift Spears. We weren't beating any spell, and they had literally no spell. So we got a Crash Through. Crash Through's fine here because I've got Aether Gust to put the Swift Spear on top of their library if I need to. It also doesn't even make the Swift Spear anywhere near close to large enough to deal with my Batterskull, which I can now reset with Stoneforge Mystic. So we got there. we got there. It was very tight. Didn't draw a single copy of Timely Reinforcements. Didn't need it. Brian Ching, Timely Reinforcements is a crutch. You don't need it to beat red. Just don't even draw it. Just don't draw it. You'll be fine. You finally started calling. I'm so happy. What? I mean, there's plenty of times in a control matchup where like you just don't call their bluff because you're like, what am I gonna do? Take 4 damage? It's cool. I'm at 20. But this is modern, where if you don't call their bluff, sometimes you just die. Yeah. No, I call bluffs fairly frequently in Magic, but it just... Oh, goodness gracious, we're against Mental Misstep. All right, well... Okay, we're going to keep this hand. It is not great, but it's got mana, and we'll be able to play anything we pick up. I'm going to throw away the Shock land that I don't care for. And, oh, Christ. Come on, Force. I mean, if they don't have a quick Tron, we're going to be in a good spot. Unless they're playing bad Tron, which I always refer to E-Tron as bad Tron, even though blue... Yeah, no, I know. Mental Misstep is banned in basically all the formats. Okay, we can't tell if they're on good Tron or bad Tron here. I refer to E-Tron as bad Tron. The quote-unquote actual bad Tron is like blue Tron, I guess, but I always call E-Tron bad Tron. Did you know they played Tron prior to starting the game? I had no idea. I've never seen Mental Misstep in the modern queues before, and I don't follow what they play in any format. But I know they're frequently in the challenge top 8s and on the trophy board for both modern and legacy, I believe. Specifically for legacy. I know they're a big legacy player. Chalice on 1. Yeah, that's fine. We don't actually play that many 1-mana spells. And now we get to break up their Tron here, so that's pretty good. I mean, we don't have a blue spell to pitch to it, so it wasn't really going to do that much. Oh, well, I guess I could bounce their Chalice if and when I want to. All right, we'll get rid of the tower because that'll take them the longest to rebuild, or it's sort of the most cost. Let's see, is it Forest or Wastes? It's Wastes. Okay, so we are against bad Tron. I don't have Death Touch, so hanging back to block Smasher or anything doesn't really make sense, so we're rocking in there with Ice-Fang. Bad Tron equals Dice Factory. I guess Dice Factory is field off any non-tower land. Right. Because then they have to tap the tower to fetch for it. Yeah. I'm bad at remembering the wisdom of the sages. All right, I need a 3rd blue to bounce one of these chalices. Okay, we're going to hang back. Someday I will learn these useful heuristics, but I still can't figure out how Croxa works, so I'm in trouble, bud. Any player that didn't discard a non-land card... Oh, my brain. Okay, so this is Thought Knot. Another Chalice on 2. So it's equivalent to another Thought Knot. What I'm going to do is counter this Chalice and bounce the Chalice that's on 2. Because Chalice on 2 actually does mess with me a lot. So counter target spell, return target permanent to its hand. And then next turn we can Force of Negation to counter the Chalice on 2 that they will likely replay. I have a backup Ice-Fang Coatl, although this Stoneforge Mystic is just chomping at the bit to get in here. So let's get that gal in here. We're gonna go and get sort of Feast and Famine this time because I think attacking their hand and getting more mana is more useful in this matchup than Mr. Batterskull. I'm fairly certain that they are going to play the Chalice this turn, which is fine, and then this can actually fetch my Mystic Sanctuary and get me my Cryptic back, so we're in a really good spot right now. Begin combat? What is this? End step? What is this? I don't... What? Roy, I'm obviously confused and aroused. I guess I'm getting my Mystic Sanctuary to get my Cryptic back anyway? Yeah, I am. I don't fully understand why they did what they did. I'm gonna leave my Ice-Fang in my hand. I have concerns. I don't... So I can put my sword into play, equip it, and swing. I guess they could have Dismember here. But if they do, I can just force on it by pitching Ice-Fang. So I think I'm in an okay place for that. Yeah, okay. Oh, it's not. Yep. I always forget that that spell works that way. It's not Force of Will. Playing Legacy has hurt me. All right. If they Chalice on 2 here, we're just going to Ice-Fang. Yeah. I know, Roy. As usual, you help me out with my bad decisions too late. Endbringer. Yeah, Endbringer's totally fine because I can just Cryptic bounce it, I guess. It also can't kill my Ice-Fang Coatl. So I can attack here, bounce it, draw a card. And I can field them off the mana for it here. Plus play Stoneforge. We've also got them on a reasonably quick clock now, so... I suppose I could have fetched Batterskull and got the Batterskull into play, which would have been more damage efficient. So we're going to kill the Eldrazi Temple because it taps for 2. Yeah, I'm just screwing up all over the place. I'm just not used to the sort of play patterns of this deck. I should not have attacked with my Stoneforge Mystic, and I should have left it to put my Batterskull into play here. But we found it afterwards. So hopefully they didn't draw land to recast the Endbringer, but even if they did, it's not too big of a deal. Yeah, that's fine. So I get to play Batterskull with Stoneforge and then equip it to Ice-Fang and jam for 7 in the air, which is almost GG. And then Force protects me to try to end this out, so hopefully that is good enough. Unfortunately, we do have to kill a Germ here, but it's the cost of doing business when you're Phyrexian. Smash! Ice-Fang smash. Surprise Snake. Kill you. Okay. Post-combat. Can play my Uro, see if I can draw some more counter magic or anything else that could be relevant. Social isolation, the slang term for that play. Hey, look, I found a thing that deals with their Endbringer. I don't have any reason to cast it now. Endbringer does have the ability to stop a creature from attacking or blocking, but Endbringer will not be on the battlefield. I guess I could have pathed it on my turn so that they couldn't draw a card. Oh, there's a Chalice on one. Good catch, Roy. Well, I mean, it wouldn't stop me from misplaying. So what we're going to do on my turn is equip the Batterskull to my Stoneforge Mystic. So assuming that they don't have a second creature, we can get them that way. So they need to play a second creature here to survive. I was not trolling. I was definitely totally ignorant of that fact. They have Scavenger Grounds, so they can turn off my Uro here to give you a heart attack. No, I would have said it. I don't just say sarcastic things. I tend to make sure people know I'm being sarcastic. That is my kind of humor. I don't want people to not know I was making a joke. I want you to know I was making a joke if I'm making a joke. So they upkeep Scavenger Grounds? Sure. So that gives me some amount of hope. Hey, look, I drew a way to get rid of their Chalice and their creature. So this should deal with Mr. Endbringer in all of the above ways. Let's see. Is there a downside? No, I have enough mana to do... Yeah, I have enough mana to do whatever I need to do here. Yeah, so they're going to make it so my Ice-Fang can't attack or block. Okay, so I'm going to move the Sword of Feast and Famine onto one of my Stoneforges. I have blue 1 here, so I can force if I need to. Yeah, we got there. Cool. Sick nasty. All right. So, E-Tron, they say. So I guess Disdainful Stroke is good here. This is another... I think this is another game where we have very little sideboarding that we need to do. Like, Timely Reinforcement is, like, kind of okay, but it's not really necessary because there's a good chance that we're going to be the aggressive deck here. Return to Nature against their Chalice is definitely something that's reasonable. I don't think Veil of Summer is important because they don't have... how many artifacts do they play? Just the Chalices, and then they've got a Karn Wishboard, which is pretty frightening. Some of the things that can come out of there are very good. Spell Snare is generally quite poor against that deck. It does counter Chalice on 1, but it's not too bad. Let's see. I guess Force of Negation is an okay cut, since a lot of their frightening things are creatures, but nah, that doesn't seem right. Man, this deck is just so well set up in a game 1. I almost feel like I should just not bring in the Return to Nature because Teferi and Cryptic Command and Force of Negation are kind of enough. Spell Snare and Force of Negation. Yeah, yeah, all right. That's fair enough. All right. If the Return to Nature gets drawn and it's awful and it's like, oh, I wish this was a Force of Negation, this would be really good, but Okay, knowing what they're on. This is an acceptable hand. Whatever we draw, we're going to be able to cast. We don't have a lot of disruption. So if they come out swinging, we could get beat up a little bit. I think this is pretty good. We shall see. Oh boy. Yeah. Turn 2 Thought-Knot Seer. Love to see it. They took my Ice-Fang. Kel Surprise. Roy is once again in the business of predicting the future. I mean, the biggest problem I have with Thought-Knot is just now they know how weak our hand was. So if they have the Smasher or an Endbringer here or almost anything, we're going to be in really big trouble. Hey, look! They got their ideal draw. So we take 9, and then because I have double fetch, I can't possibly get to Supreme Verdict in time, so I need to draw a Path to Exile now. And that also assumes that they don't have another Smasher, which they do. Cool. So we died. Now I'm predicting the future. Aw, dude, that's just always how E-Tron goes. I suppose in specifically that circumstance, timely reinforcements would have been good. I wish we had Brian on to let me know if that was like something I should be playing. Also, Disdainful Stroke there would have been excellent. We, of course, we didn't have it. And if we had it, it would have been stolen from us by the Thought-Knot Seer. But I still don't think that timely is necessarily all that good here. Maybe on the draw it would have been better than like Verdict, but all right, I think we're good. This is really awkward without the ability to play the Ice-Fang until after we Field of Ruin. But I think Field of Ruin is like valuable enough in this matchup that this is going to be okay. I hate having the Sword of Feast and Famine in my opener as well. Alright, we're going to go with it. We're going to hope that they're not quite as insanely lucky as last game. They kept 7. Well, that's terrifying. This hand sucks. Hey man, hand sucks keep. It's the mid-range player's motto. Okay, so with the Path to Exile drawn, that's like super unfortunate because I want to field their Temple and get a white. But then again, fielding them off of the Temple means they don't have 3 mana next turn, so I can afford to get the green. Okay, you may have your 1 mana. I believe them pooling the 1 mana there was them being technically correct. I don't think that there's anything they can do with it here. Yeah, cool. Warping Whale. Oh, they put a 1/1 into play? Okay. So they could go Warping Whale and then sack the Scion to play a Chalice on 2 here. They're attacking. Alright, so they're going to go post-combat Mountain light up the stage. Just to freak me out. The Chalice on 2? Karn. Okay, that's pretty good. Liquid metal coating. Yup. Force. Oh. So return to nature's like, I don't know, like medium minus here. The awkwardness of our mana is pretty crappy here. Suppose I could have played Ice-Fang. I think there's a chance we're going to have to let them wasteland us. I can't prevent it from happening with anything that I do here. But we can play the Ice-Fang, but the Ice-Fang can't attack the Karn down. So maybe going Jace Brainstorm for one of our 2 forces, and to make sure we keep hitting land drops is the best play here. I think so. Yeah. We're looking for lands or Force of Negation here. So we did hit a land, we did hit an Astrolabe, and we're going to be able to kill their Liquid Metal Coating, so put Sword back, put Return to Nature on top of it in case they play Thought-Knot Seer here. Because Return to Nature on their Liquid Metal Coating is what we really need on this next turn. So now they get to kill one of my lands. Probably one of the islands, if I had to guess. And they're going to get Pithing Needle here for Jace, I guess. Sorcerer's Spyglass, sure. Yeah. Oh, this means they're not stripping me. Okay, that's pretty good. They did not uptick, so they're going to use the Liquid Metal Coating to take me off of a land during my upkeep. I'm going to use that mana to play my Ice-Fang, and then I have Astrolabe, so I can play the Return to Nature if I didn't have this Temple Garden, which I do. Okay, so we're going to shock this. Going to Return to Nature, get rid of their Liquid Metal Coating. So I have a Path to Exile in my hand for any creatures that they play. But if they play a Smasher, they're not incentivized to attack my Jace. They're incentivized to attack me, and I have an Ice-Fang with Death Touch. I'm just going to cycle this Astrolabe this turn, get deeper into my deck, and give me more options for next turn. I think that's a reasonable line to take. And then their Karn, as the board is now, their Karn is not going to be able to get them to other artifacts anytime soon because I just keep knocking it down for 1 with Ice-Fang, but I can also play and equip Sword of Feast and Famine. I just don't want to attack. Yeah, that's an awesome play for us to see. Is this into Matter Reshaper? Tech Edge. Okay, that's a little unfortunate. Thought-Knot? Balliston 2. That's really good. Well, crap. Okay. So I don't have 3 islands yet. I cannot Mystic Sanctuary to reset my Return to Nature. So we can't unlock the Jace yet. They could kill their Karn to wish for another artifact. I think I'm okay with that right now. I kind of want to play this Sword of Feast and Famine. But I think I need to keep Cryptic up. Blast Zone. Man, they got a lot of tools. What am I saying? They are a tool. Are they attacking for 1 with Walking Ballista? Because they attack my Jace. So I think they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So if I path this, they could uptick it once and hit Jace for 2. But then Jace stays in play, so I think we just path it. There's no Chalice on 1 this game. I'm checking. So this means I can play Ice-Fang and be able to attack. If they don't play anything, then I have to Cryptic. Play Sword. Playing the Sword was like an option that I had, but I was not super enthused about tapping off of Cryptic that turn. Okay. They hit my Jace for 1. That's fine. Instead of getting a land. Oh, I guess they only play wastes, and they might have the other wastes in their hand. Okay, they're upticking on nothing? Sure. So there's a good chance by playing 2 Ice-Fangs here, we get in a pretty good spot. Depends on what they play here. Matter Reshaper finally? Good golly. So I can counter that? It means I don't get to play an Ice-Fang this turn, which kind of sucks. And if I play 2 Ice-Fangs, they can just Ballista. That's a tough squeeze. Playing 2 Ice-Fangs doesn't work here because they can just crank the Ballista, so I think I have to counter this and draw a card. Okay. Can't activate my Astrolabe right now, so yeah. Not my favorite moment here, but I think this is the right line. They still have 2 cards in hand and 6 mana for Eldrazi, which kind of sucks. Since they're actually messing with my mana, I think getting a Hallowed Fountain here. I still do have the Tech Edge in play, but there's no way they can take me off of doing this now. Here's where they go Exile, Elvish Spirit Guide, and then... Oh, that is an A+ draw. Cool. Forgot I played that card. So... This means I can return to nature the Spyglass, and then use my Jace, try to find a Force of Negation or other good interaction for the Karn, which is going to get to Wish again. But I don't know if the Karn actually has any like very good Wish targets left. Most of them are pretty expensive. So... And they don't have a Scavenging Ground hiding in there. In their mana base. Hope they don't find God Pharaoh's statue. On this board, in this economy, in this format, Roy, I think it would be fine. This is my favorite creature of all time. And unfortunately, I'm not using it to flash back my favorite spell of all time, but like, I guess we'll deal with it. Return to Nature is like close to one of my favorite spells. It's close to like my favorite utility. One of my favorite utility spells of all time, which is Naturalize. Do you like Snap more than Deathrite? I don't have any affinity for Deathrite Shaman, so yes, I like Snapcaster Mage more than Deathrite Shaman. Teferi's like not spectacular in this matchup. But I can put the sword back on top with the Stoneforge and then draw into those next turn. So we're in a pretty okay spot. So they can Karn for like... Actually, I bet they can Karn for another Ballista. Yeah. But... Oh, they crank their Blast Zone to 2 here? And then sack their Mind Stone? Oop. They tech-edged me. Suppose they could get a Crucible of Worlds? Yeah, but Naturalize is called Naturalize. Like, I like the fact that Naturalize is called Naturalize. It's like Disenchant. It's just like, it's clean. It's a really good, clean name. Return to Nature is like, it's alright, but it's a whole whack of words. Okay, so they get to go Ballista X3 here, which is pretty great against me. Especially, they're going to be able to kill my Snap and my Jace if they want to. Which is a little frustrating. But they can't kill Snap, Jace, and Ice-Fang, so they're going to have to make... They're going to have to make a tough decision somewhere. So we're going to squeeze them. They are killing Jace for sure. Cool, that's great, because I already have another one of those, and I know it. Oh, and then they're going to be able to block Snap and kill the Ice-Fang. Which is a pretty good line. Pretty good line. So we draw Stoneforge. Unfortunately, we're going to draw the sword here, but that's okay. I suppose I could play and equip the sword to Ice-Fang Coatl, forcing them to shoot it. And then I could equip it to Snapcaster and attack them instead of Karn. I can let Karn tick up for one more turn. Then they'll be able to Blast Zone my Snapcaster, but I'll have all my mana untapped again. I think that's a pretty good line, actually. Yeah, this really... Oh, right, I can't equip. Yeah. Good God, I'm bad at this game sometimes. Okay. Yeah, we both made the same mistake. Okay, we're still in a good spot here. I am going to need to pick up the pace a little bit. I'm pretty behind on clock. So just got to make decisions a little bit more quickly than I had been. So attack Karn with both. They Walking Ballista block the snap, shoot the Ice-Fang. This Karn has been alive forever. So pretty sure what I do here is I field them off of the blast zone. And then I'm going to play Stoneforge, get my Batterskull. And then pass. We have Teferi that they do not know about right now in our hand, as well as a pretty decent number of other resources, so should be okay here, but they could finally start like actually drawing and playing threats, which would be bad. I mean, it's not that surprising we missed the Karn static because it's been turning off my Astrolabe, but my mana's been good enough. I haven't needed to use the Astrolabe, so it's like it's there, but it's not there. Okay, Endbringer. Wow! All is dust. Goodness gracious. They are so good at keeping me off of creatures this game. I mean, I guess we're priced into letting them Karn Wish again, which is kind of tilting. If they choose to. They're really playing a good game of protect the Karn. Hoping to finally see like an Endbringer here or like a Reality Smasher, something that's just like not particularly good on this board state, and then we can just Teferi them. Do they play Spine of Ishsaw in the Wish board? I really, really doubt it. Chalice on 1. That's fine. That is currently fine. Please also play a Chalice on 2. That would be great. I would love to see that. I would love to see you play a Chalice on 2. Just do it. Get in there, bud. Smasher? Smasher. Sick. That is really good for us. This only triggers on spells, so it's like even better. Okay, they uptick Karn on nothing and they pass the turn. So this is pretty phenomenal for us in a bunch of ways. That is not. So I'm Teferi, bounce the Smasher, Get the Karn down with my Germ token. We drew a Mana Leak to get rid of the Smasher on the way back. I'm going to leave back... I'm going to leave back the Ice-Fang. Justin Kais. And I could play out the Stoneforge Mystic without hurting myself in any way. Yeah, so I'm going to... don't need to search because I don't have anything left to search for, and we pass the turn. My other option was equipping the Sword of Feast and Famine to the Ice-Fang or to the Germ token. I guess equipping it to the Germ token would give me a creature big enough to block the Smasher, but my plan here is to Mana Leak the Smasher, so I'm okay with that. The Karn finally died. I know. It was the unkillable Karn. Like, it really... They're backing up. I wonder why. Are they worried about Mana Leak or similar? They could be. This game is very, very tight. If they have other options than just Jam Smasher here, it is much better for them to do those things. The Karn that kept on giving. That's right, he really was. He bought them like 3 artifacts, I think. Dismember. That's fine. You can debt member. Now you Smasher? Huh. I guess they wanted to make sure that it could resolve. The weird thing about Smasher here, too, is like I have a Sword of Feast and Famine in play, so my Batterskull is going to be a 6/6 Vigilance lifelink. So I'm not sure what, if anything, dismembering my Ice-Fang accomplishes, but I trust that Mental Misstep knows what they're doing, so they are proven to be either a very, very good player or someone with a gratuitous amount of time on their hands, because, hey, I've gotten a couple 5-0s. Just a friendly reminder of Future Jack, there's a Chalice one. There are 2 cards in my hand that I'm specifically looking at and going, man, these are so blank right now. Like, it's funny because like Path will tempt me to play it, but Astrolabe will not, because Astrolabe is just pure value and the Chalice makes it sad. So, like, the fact that Path is the better card gets me too excited and I want to just jam the Path. But Astrolabe, like, the only thing it does is draw me a card, which I'm excited to do, but I know I won't get to do it, so it's really, really easy for me to remember that Chalice is on one here. Also, we've got 7 people in here. Jeez. Blown up. Roy, take a note. This was the day we blew up. One week before I have to plunge into the darkness of the United States of America again. We hit them. They have to discard. I get to untap my mana, which means I should have played my Uro before combat, but I got too excited about attacking. Anyone hanging out? You are watching a child play Magic the Gathering. I'm not smart or agile enough to be doing this in front of a live studio audience, but we're doing it anyway. We're doing it live. But my corporate buzzwords are on point, so. Man, like, this turn could have been sequenced like a million times better if I actually remembered that the Sword of Feast and Famine is going to untap my lands. All right, Godspeed, opponent. You deserve to win this game. But I still did. Hooray. Brian's Stoneforge deck gets us to... Brian's Stoneforge deck gets us to 3-1, with our only loss being a close one to Prowess. And so let's see if we can get that 4-1. For anyone who didn't catch my tweet, shame on you for not having me on Twitter. But we are rocking into a league with Rug Painter after this. The rug really ties the room together. And it is an awesome list from my teammate Paul Ju, where we're going to be playing at in Legacy. So we're going to be trying to cheese some people out, and then I've played some amazing grindy games of Magic with that as well. So should be a really good time. Can't wait to see that deck in action. I'm glad to hear it. Is that Damon or is that just Dan again, but on the other account? All proceeds on the stream go to 2/3 of We Can Do Better. That's true. All right. Opponent keeps and mulligans to 6. Or sorry. Chooses to play first and mulligans to 6. Okay, cool. I think I'm going to keep this in the dark. It's got spells. It's got lands. I like to be able to cast my spells. This is the kind of deck where I feel like you'll just draw spells that you can play, and as long as your mana works out, you're going to be okay. Logged onto a different Twitch account on this computer. Well. Thoughtseize. I am not particularly sad to get Thoughtseize with this hand. I will be fine. We're going to draw all the spells we need. They mulled, so we're up 2 cards already. They've got a super creepy Zedru the Great-Hearted display picture. We drew the mono blue curve with our mono blue hand. Dark Confidant. Well, that is a very, very good draw against my hand that can't do anything about it. So let's hope that we draw one of our Path to Exiles coming up here. Ice-Fang might do it. Let's find out. Hey, opponent, take like 5. Just like flip over like an Angrath the Flame Chained. Inquisition. Well, that's a kick in the teeth. So we're going to have to fire off this Ice-Fang in response to the Inquisition, and then the Inquisition's going to be able to take my Force of Negation, but it's not the end of the world. Taking 3 here is not my favorite, but we're going to do it anyway. Snack. Oh. So do I force this? So that I have the path? They can still have another discard spell, but like... They have to have another removal spell to be able to attack here. I think we let this resolve. Doesn't feel good, but I think I let that resolve. I'm not ready to go down on the cards yet. Yeah. Just like I drew it up, huh? All right. Yeah. Stopping them from attacking doesn't get the Dark Confidant off the board, so. Okay, this does get me another island, so it's worth keeping, but I can also now hardcast my Force of Negation, so. Hopefully they're not playing into Bloodbraid Elf Knight now, but we actually don't know if they're playing green at all. This is, I don't think this is Jund. I think this is just like a black-red deck. Kroxa. Man, I wish I could Force of Negation Kroxa on the A side. But it's okay. We're going to be able to Cryptic him on the B side. Kroxa, Titan of Death's Hunger, B side is not a chart topper. So we're finally having a matchup here where we're really good to bring in Veil of Summer, which feels good. I'm going to take down their untapped land. We'll turn an untapped land into a different, more untapped land. And then we'll be able to Mystic Sanctuary to put the path back on top of my deck and have the Cryptic up for the Kroxa. So got a decent turn coming up here. Like Damon, I've experienced the amazing ability or amazing inability to count to 3, where you screw up your Mystic Sanctuaries. I haven't done it yet in paper, but I have done it online like once. Looks like you're playing against a certain Gen player we know whose mana is screwed off of green. I don't think so, because Josh doesn't play Dark Confidant. Does he? I don't think he plays Dark Confidant now. He has before, but I don't think he plays it now. Lightning Skelemental. Well, I guess I know what I'm countering if they don't play Kroxa. Waste Not. Yeah, that's something. So if they play the Skelemental this turn, I think I'm going to go counter Skelemental, bounce Dark Confidant, Burning Inquiry. Yeah, you can write off. I don't. No. Bad. So we're going to have the Path next turn for the Dark Confidant, and their last card in hand is a Skelemental, and they've got the Kroxa in their graveyard. So we have tools to deal with most of what's going on here. We have maneuvered ourselves into a reasonable place. We just need to sort of stabilize the boat. This is one of those games where I want to play the like Bant control decks that are going really well. In Modern, because I feel like they're right up my alley, and like the ability to slam a Teferi 5 here would be really good. Like obviously not exactly at this moment on this board state, but they play a little heavy into the counter magic. They're not playing Stoneforge Mystic. Of course, we haven't drawn any Stoneforge Mystic, but I'm just saying, rather than playing that package, they're just playing more control elements, which is right up my alley. They're on 6 mana though. So if they have a land in their hand, they can play Skelemental and Kroxa this turn, which would be big game. Don't you dare Roy me, opponent. Don't you dare. They're playing the Kroxa, huh? It is going to feel so bad when I go Cryptic counter draw and they go land Skelemental. I suppose the conservative line would be to counter and bounce their Waste Not, but I don't. And the super, super greedy line would be counter bounce my Mystic Sanctuary. But we're definitely not doing that. I think I'm going to hedge counter draw. Let's see if we get punished. All right. Take the wheel, Jace. Crap. Are you freaking kidding me? Oh, that's so good. All right. We're not dead. They are going to get to draw a card and get black here. Woof. Yeah, whatever. Really wish I had a Crocs in my graveyard. Although I guess I don't have double green, so hopefully Veil of Summer is able to help us out in game 2. And they've got Croxa back. Oh, so we're just dead. Yeah, okay, we're just dead. Cool. They failed to find a swamp or forest, so 4 basics. So Veil is good here. Return to Nature's good here. Ashiok probably pretty okay. Timely might be. No, they trample. Don't think Aether Gust is necessary. Return to Nature might not be necessary. So 5 seems good. Spell Snare is really bad against Croxa, but it is good against Dark Confidant. Verdict is not particularly good against that deck, I don't think. Cryptic. No, Force is pretty rough. Most of their threats are creatures. And Teferi is not particularly good. I think this is fine. Is casting the path? Yeah, is casting the path on the Dark Confidant that was in play for multiple turns the worst we felt this league? Yes. Yeah. The answer to your question is yes. That was so brutal. The opening part of that game was savage. The fact that we got anywhere near some kind of stability was pretty A+. And now we've got 3 Veils. I think I am going to keep this hand. It's not the best, but it's got all the things we need for a healthy, balanced breakfast. Can't play the Ice-Fang on 2, but opponent multi 6, awesome. We need a little bump of luck in this matchup. We got turn 2 Stoneforge here, so we're going to be doing stuff. We didn't see any Thoughtseize in game 1, but I think they almost definitely have it. I can't imagine playing that deck without it. Yeah. So you've only seen Inquisition so far. I think they're definitely going to take Stoneforge here. It's possible they take Path, but I think on the whole, Preparation H feels pretty good. Well, that's not a Veil. That's not a castable spell. Luckily, they do have a non-basic, so starting on turn 4, we'll have access to most of our hand. Hey, look, they finally played a Thoughtseize. All right, I think our Ashiok's likely to eat it here. Yeah, which is fine. They're stalled on lands. Well, that's just tremendous because I'm going to hit them with Field of Ruin here. Yeah, that doesn't change it. I don't think it's worth end of turn fielding them. I guess it does reduce the number of lands in their deck, and it reduces their options on their turn. Yeah, it definitely is, actually. That's my bad. It does mean I'm not going to be able to play Path on my turn because I want to get a blue source here, but I think I'm okay with that. The things that I want to path, the things that would be worth pathing that they play, they took red. Huh. What does that mean? No land. Okay, cool. So blue source? Maybe? Astrolabe's a pretty good draw. I think I'm going to play that before I play anything else. It's unlikely I want to play Ice-Fang and Path here, but I think I'd rather do that than shock a Hallowed Fountain. Suppose if they play Inquisition, I might want to... No. Alright, opponent getting completely schooled by their incredible lack of lands. We are going to play an Ice-Fang. It's probably going to get bolted. That's fine. Very happy to go up a card like this. Yep. I would like a Jace to start closing this game out. Thanks, deck. Sure. Fate Sealing against the Lightning Bolt deck. I'm going to put that on the bottom. Going to shock this Hallowed Fountain. And we'll see if they can draw a land, even though I just bottomed one. Cool. Now we just start brainstorming, I think, looking for threats. Upkeep, stop? They have Magnetic Sinkhole? Okay, so because I have a Jace in play, I'm going to brainstorm before I play this fetch land, because we can play fetch land brainstorm tricks here. So one of these lands is going to go back on top. I don't think I need a second Cryptic. Although I can play Cryptic and Coatl this turn, so I'm going to play a main phase Coatl, draw the Cryptic, and then I can shuffle away the excess land. I guess I should have shuffled away a Path, because the Paths are kind of a little bit worse than the Cryptic right now. Or than the extra land drop even. More bolts, sure. Yeah, I was wondering what would be too much for them here. Mulligan, keep the one lander, get horrendously punished. It happens to the best of us. I do not think that this changes my sideboarding decisions. Well, I think the Spell Snare is pretty bad. I guess it's better on the draw, but like they have Waste Not, they have Crocs, so they. Oh no, I kept it for Dark Confidant. And we didn't really get to see much of their deck in that game. Yeah, all right, we'll still keep the Spell Snare. Maybe it'll be all right. So this hand is kind of nuts, assuming that I can keep the second land. So I might die to the same thing that they died to in the first game. If they turn one Thoughtseize or Inquisition away my Astrolabe, I'm going to be in a little bit of trouble. We are playing like a 23 land deck. They did not. Sick. Okay, that's... And I even have a Path if they have a Confidant here, so... Hopefully their turn 2 is Croxa. That would put us in the best possible position here. Please play Dark Confidant or Croxa. Wait, even better. That's super. Thank you. Thank you. A+. Thank you, opponent, for putting yourself in the position where we get to go 4-1 here, I think. This hand is just so incredibly busted against that deck. I just have very little concern about this game at this point in terms of the position we're in. This is about as good as it could possibly get. Because they can Skelemental this turn, we can Mana Leak it, they Skelemental next turn with, like, what is it? Not Exhume. Unearth. But then we could Path it. Like, we just have sort of infinite answers from this point. Liliana the Veil. That's going to get countered. Could just get an island here. I think I'm going to bother shocking for the breeding pool in case we get an Uro. Just want to have a little bit more diversity in my colors here. I guess my snow count is not that high right now, but and importantly, you can't veil each player discards a card. So you can veil the target player sacrifices a creature, but not each player. Can play Snow-Covered Island here. Gives me access to Mystic Sanctuary if I draw a fetch or the Sanctuary itself. Okay, so we're going to continue to be in a pretty gross spot here. Skelemental still eats this path, and then we can Ice-Fang afterwards. So the record so far, we are 3-1. Plague Engineer is fine. Probably going to call Sneck, but we've got path for that. Sneck, yep. We beat Mental Misstep in one of the matches. I think I just fire off this path now and then Ice-Fang to draw a card. Alrighty, so I was about to say, so this is going to be a slightly interesting turn because we have the option to slam a Jace here, but it leaves us vulnerable to the Skelemental. Playing the path there was kind of awkward, but I made my choice and I'm sticking with it. I think in this case we're just going to play the Uro. The worst thing that can happen to us at this point is that they can Skelemental again. But Uro is now in our graveyard, so that can protect us. And even if they play an Ashiok, I can veil the Ashiok, trying to mill us. I think I'm going to keep Ice-Fang on defensive still, just as a little buffer. So Skelemental is the scary thing here, so hopefully that is not exactly what comes out. Ashiok would be acceptable. Not great, but acceptable. Please do not play second Waste Not into Skelemental. That would be so gross. Oh, thank God. Whew. Okay, I think I'm going to cycle one of these Veils. Do you think that deck ever mills themselves with Ashiok? It's definitely possible. Milling your opponent is almost no value, so I don't think I need two Veils in hand at this point, and I'm looking for more action. So I'm going to fire off one of these. Target player discards a card and shock. Oh, I can't play it. Alright. That is okay. We're going to lose Teferi here, I think. Yeah. Oh, crap. They get to draw two cards off that. Jeez, that was such a punish. I did not think of Kolaghan's Command in that moment. Okay, so Savage punished for my kind of reasonable choice. On the plus side, I realized we could just play the Uro out of our graveyard this turn instead of doing anything else, so I'm gonna do that. This does mean I can't play Veil. If I play Jace, I can play Veil, but they have a bunch of cards in hand. Getting the Uro into play is pretty freaking good here. Alright, we're going to put the Uro into play and then hope that that is going to be a level of protection against whatever they try to do to us. So Misty, Mana Leak, Teferi, Ice-Fang, Veil. So we're going to leave the path in case I draw Snapcaster in the near future. If we have Uro, do we care about Veil of Summer anymore? I mean, it's possible. Okay, we have a clunky hand here, which we can't cast anything with, but Uro is a pretty good wall. Hopefully we can. It's just with the double Waste Knot in play. It's like that Kolaghan's Command was like a 4-for-1. Yeah, Escaped Uro swings the pendulum pretty hard, but that's not the only issue here. The issue is Jace plus having Veil up as backup is a reasonable spot to be in. It doesn't protect us from Skelemental though, so Dark Confidant. Okay, good. Can deal with that. Wow, ha 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 ho. Goodness gracious. So they're gonna draw like 9 off of this? Wow. Wow. Unreal. I guess we should have left in Force of Negation, huh? So at least they mostly got mana off of it. And they drew a land. Oh my god, and they couldn't play anything with their mana because I guess they needed red for most of it. So as far as that could have gone, I guess it went pretty well. So I can play Batterskull here and have Veil of Summers back up. I can't escape the Uro. Could play Stoneforge, get my Sword of Feast and Famine, and have Cryptic Command as backup. I think that's probably the best line, so that's what I'm going with. I think Force of Negation would be fine in this matchup. Potentially on this game, but like reveals Lightning Skelemental. Yeah, that's scary. Croxa. Front side of Croxa is fine. It's not that fine. So this is going to let them draw some cards. Wait. Each opponent. Okay, so there's no targeting there. I think we're discarding Uro here. They get to draw 2 cards off of that, but oh, they got zombies. It's probably fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's totally fine. They got 2 zombies, right? 2. Unearth. Man, that's so gross. And I know they have Skelemental in hand, so I can't. Man, they are just crushing us with these Waste Knots in play. All right, Crocs is in. Yeah, I guess we discard Veil. It sucks. It's just, like, this should be so good in this matchup, but like they're just, the way this game is breaking, it's just not at all. They have a Croxa in their hand. Brutal. Alright, so did they play a land yet this turn? It's going to really matter. They did, okay. So I can counter and draw with this. And then I know they've got Skelemental in their hand. We just got to pray that they don't have even more discard. If they do, we're going to be in some trouble. Also, if they have Kolaghan's Command up anytime soon. Okay, so I think I want to get my hand empty here. And if possible, I can't get my hand empty, but could Mystic Sanctuary something on top? Yeah, no, it just makes, oh shoot, that I was talking about the way the game broke and not looking at it. No, it's true that them not drawing much that targeted was just a pretty unfortunate situation, but okay, so we're playing Batterskull, playing Sword of Feast and Famine, equipping Sword of Feast and Famine, and we're in a tough spot here, but having a pro-black 6/6 with lifelink is real good here, because this can block the Skelemental quite well. They drew Black Cleave with Dark Confidant. They can play the Crocs out of their graveyard to make me discard my Ice-Fang, but I've got a Path coming off top. So, depending on their next couple of draws, this Germ could get us there. Yeah, I really needed to put the Cryptic on top of my deck, but I f***ed up because I was talking and I grabbed the Path instead. This is almost the exact same situation Brian was in against Keith. They're just putting this insane board into play, and you're like, well, I hope this Germ token gets there. It's going to be close. They've got Dark Confidant, so I think I'm probably going to Path the Confidant. Pathing anything else here is not really all that relevant. I think denying them the extra draw is the best thing I can do. And not having the card in my hand is pretty important. Oh, I do have an Uro to escape. Yeah, I should have done that. I still can post-combat. It's going to put a card in my hand. Yeah, for some reason I forgot about the Uro in this game. I just stopped looking at my graveyard. I think it's still worth doing. Yeah, it definitely is. Because then if they have a way to, if they have a K command, then they have a tougher time. Want to keep the Path, keep the Cryptic. Veil's fine to go. Jace and Misty. Land, please. Gosh darn it. All right. So having a card in hand is kind of maybe bad. We'll see. Because if they can make me discard it, they have a Croxa in their graveyard, so they can pay 4 to escape the second Croxa, make me discard this Jace before combat, and draw 2 Thoughtseize. Okay, so they get to draw 2 off this Thoughtseize. It puts them at 4. Drawing these extra 2 is really big game for them. It might give them the shatter effect that they need. But as long as my Sword of Feast and Famine stays alive, we got this. So they needed to draw it there. Okay, we got there. Stressful game. So we got the 4-1, despite a bunch of misplays. This deck is not easy to play. There are some games that are just buttery smooth, straightforward, and easy. We missed the 5-0 by a single game, which was against Mono Red Prowess. I mean, you could think about it as any of our 2-1s. That was the thing that held us back. But anyway, Bant Stoneblade is awesome. Powerful mid-range deck. It's got a good proactive plan sometimes. It plays a controlling game the other times. It is definitely like a good mid-range deck where you get to pivot back and forth between being aggressive and being controlling. Everything in this list felt pretty freaking good. I would like to draw timely reinforcements at some point. That would be awesome. But, so it goes. Cool. So we're going to swap over to Rug Painter in Legacy in a few minutes. So if you are on the stream, stick around. If you are watching this on YouTube, you can check out the Rug Painter video or any of my other videos up on this channel. Hit that like button, smash that subscribe button, and have yourself a great night if you're done. Otherwise, stick around with us. We're moving over to Rug Painter. Man, that was close.